Nuh-uh. Hello.
I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting excited already.
In that case, I'll go order for us first. Please wait here a moment.
Ooh, everything looks so good. People in Fontaine sure know how to enjoy life.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
You, sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right?
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be dissolved like that.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability, it's just that a different perspective is required. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve.
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, We've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play, don't you think?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then, wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you could... Oh, I don't know. Cut the line when she's on a break. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense. Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot and all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat, Navia. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so... normal. You know, like you.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left with...
Hey, Navia, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can...
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again.
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your requests the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again.
See ya! people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Are you hearing voices again? Ugh. That's kinda spooky. Are you sure we don't want to come back in the morning?
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be... Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kinda hear a voice. It's calling for... Vache, right? Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you... my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? I'm... Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. I fear I do not know. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water. I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure, loved exploring places of peril. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew, but now, we can no longer go back. No! Our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memories. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the... Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness, I saw Vache above the surface. His eyes were filled with such sorrow. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Is that what you call it? Dissolving? If anything, I consider it a form of release. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace, like the water's still surface. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long in a world of endless want and anxiety. I think I hear your companion. Farewell then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence. Remember, if you see Vache, tell him not to seek me out any longer.
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rashly.
I will continue investigating no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. That's my father's true last wish. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clorand. But if you get any ideas, tell me first. I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you. If we tried, we could attempt to thaw relations a little.
I know, I just... She's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, I hope that every meal we have together shall be a victory feast. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of her goodwill long ago.
All right, you two. That's enough.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick of time.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow? Ooh, Paimon's even more amazing than she thought!
Yes, all thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the boss.
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger, and hurried here as quickly as I could.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Ugh, now we're caught up in this mess too, aren't we?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. She said that she heard that voice calling for Vache again. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too, but it was real faint. Does this situation have to do with the primordial seawater then? Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontaine?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? While you were out cold?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is important. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will continue to investigate. Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. That means we're still partners, right? And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off.
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula, after all.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? I'll arrange accommodations for you. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take that one step.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
We're way behind schedule.
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, traveler. Off we go!
time unimagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... he was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he was accused?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we have to find the truth. He didn't deserve to have that happen to him.
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms. Clorand.
Oh, her? Well, then, yeah. That's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on from.
Ms. Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice she could have made.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Afterward, Ms. Cloran told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards the end. Thanks. You two should go and rest. This was quite—
Yeah.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
Paimon slept so, huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vache person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten, no matter how much they wanted to. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess that's the hard-working Chief Justice for you. In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we? Aren't you coming along, Navia? Did you get tired?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice.
Finally on the
Adventure time!
Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters. Huh. This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves that Nervalet's files are really secure.
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason to be here.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys. It's all coming back to me now.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Thanks so much.
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Nervalet. We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Who knew that Nervalet would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave now.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should.
It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today. How strange.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder...
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait. You don't mean...
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead-in...
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself, like... Great, let's...
Adventure time!
Whoa, what a huge ship! Why would a ship be anchored?
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually Spina di Rosula's headquarters. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our tastes in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base, our home. Off we go! Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had something to do with water from the primordial sea? You still remember, right, Melus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the—
Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed towards the truth.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with zero warning. I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more important...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live. And the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina de Rosula, but as long as you remained safe, if something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the
Right. So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked, even though Boss has been gone for a long...
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the...
So he chose to die?
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to fight, I'm sure he'd be extreme.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be... Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true.
With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where synth is produced. Essentially, it's the enemy's headquarters. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things into consideration.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be...
Then, in that case, what?
Well, you saw one of...
That's true, but things are different.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought.
I am the butler, after all. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability...
Thank you for all of that, Malus.
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula, or at least have an informant planted here. When I announced orders to the organization, if the vendors didn't... After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, the first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, there's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around with a lot of business connections in the city.
So, they're like a sister organization of...
Yes, you can say that. It's a bit difficult.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. To think that the enemy we've been fighting
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely cautious.
Of course. And thank you, Malus. You've provided us with a lot of great information.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you...
Aw, thank you so much, Malus.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once...
It is settled, then. Please excuse me, and...
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Malus.
Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
Oh,
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time.
Ah, if it's about that, There's no need to apologize. After my...
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand.
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you. Because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth could bring close.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but on the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me?
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis, even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy? If he did, Papa always wanted to be a good man. So why did he—
Well, things aren't always as they
Yeah, Papa was a really good man.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons. Regardless of whether he left you a parasol.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Are you okay, Navia?
Adventure time!
Laurent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the opera.
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic?
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside. And we found some— After my partner here put the dots together for me, can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was drinking and bantering away with us at the table. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out? My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callis was—
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques. or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the... But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why did he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine and chose instead to prove his honor in a duel? Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of it?
About that, Malus told me a thing or two. So, I'll tell you everything once the whole truth has been revealed.
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr. Callus's honor in your hands, boss. And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callus, many people have laughed at me for still, but it was Mr. Callus, no matter what others might say. He'll always be the man I respect the most.
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserved... Hey, Thierry! It's me!
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name for yourself at the Opera House.
Oh, so you've got news of that.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the Guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because I had done something wrong.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of Poisson. Callus did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two
Yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father...
Ah, I get it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for your father's case.
Well, you see, just recently, we were So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be profitable enough.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with your I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come find me if you need any support from the guards.
adventure time!
Hello. How may I help you? I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? Sure. I will let him know.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my legs are giving out a bit.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no... I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House. I'm sure you saw everything too, right?
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the Opera House too?
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery? I also witnessed her marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans...
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away.
Exactly. I still...
Oh, and...
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea. If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you?
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into... Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more, see if there are any valuable clues elsewhere.
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support.
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance. That makes sense.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no more use to his boss.
Huh. So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the Order and seek protection from my father. Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides, Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has... It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite... But who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked together on a large number of projects. Maybe that's how he got to know Jacques. And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. It's still really hard for me to imagine, though. After all, Uncle Marcel has been around since I was just a child. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, and thus had the best chance of learning about his dealings with Jacques. But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and...
So you're saying he's too broke to afford...
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch a whole... Thierry, you say? Huh. It is possible that he... But I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha.
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's inventory. If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out.
Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most suspicious of them all.
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the...
Malus has... The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses significant intellect and foresight. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't we need far more solid proof before—
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the god?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartagli.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearance.
Wait, how? None of our
That's what I thought was strange about it. If the charge against him...
Right.
Yeah.
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean?
Since this is a trial about the you're right. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to—
We'll help you. Just
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malou, Silver. When did you—
We heard that you'll be leaving. It's our hope that your
see you then. Now that Navia has set out for Aranias, we should also get going. The location is
Oh, ow!
According to Malusa's info, the synth production base is underwater. Let's go and try to find the entrance. Finally found it! Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. Ah, you're right. Navia's probably...
It would appear that I must repeat my... Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never... However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear... In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I've got to admit, that's one of the most... When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back.
Hey! Don't you understand?
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat.
Alas, it would appear that... In that case, let me explain everything from the very...
That case had nothing to do— Huh? What's going on? Why?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second, but that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can...
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless... We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue, and if my charges prove true, then
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who...
That person is... Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabaret...
Huh? What confrérie?
I've heard of them, but weren't...
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, and if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances...
Yes.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss members of the guards, please... Mr. Marcel, you will not...
Apologies. I think an attorney won't be necessary.
Very well.
I would like to take everyone back to only through elucidating what really happened in that case.
Navia, Do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember, both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet. Even I'm struggling to remember some details of that case.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of... During the banquet, when the guests arrived at the scene, the guard's investigation did not recover. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself. Callus was defeated by Champ. These are the known...
The one with... and after that, however, we the testimony of how this assassin. A pile of clothes, but now, since it... Realizing this, the true culprit
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling...
What a great theory.
Mr. Marcel, you are...
But I think I agree with everything Navia just said.
Then, may I ask some questions? 1. Do you have the...
I'm afraid not.
Boo!
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up, we should be able to find a match, considering the serial disappearances case.
That makes sense to me.
Why do I feel...
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become...
My second question has to do with the Then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that
I've thought about this too. And the dissolving power of water. My father could have exposed it for all to see. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in What was certain, however, was that it would paint...
Boss once told me that there was a...
What? If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and... Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the... But what good would that do? Had this opera house ever given my... But by staying silent, I was able to become Spina di Rose. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do...
So, you mean to say...
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course, all you need... I don't need your apology, your guilt, but since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand...
so...
Yes, as a champion duelist, I've fought many battles, and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've just one look and I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions.
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you...
Right? What she said was fascinating, but...
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial...
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are... In my father's case, the culprit intended to... And, at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because the culprit could only time their actions so precisely. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet...
So that's why you suspected me. I'm used to it, though.
No need to appeal to pain.
I won't try to refute your... On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing?
know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt? But if I were to dismiss this, do you know what the biggest—
I suppose you're gonna tell me.
It's timing. I'm a businessman by trade, in addition. But the
I do apologize.
No.
Is there anything else You can also take a look at my border entry records. Or ask could those records and testimonies do something to appease—
Seems like she got the wrong. At this rate, Navia will be convicted.
I think you've done a superb— But aren't you going against— He wished for you to become more rational. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into—
This isn't just about me. The biggest difference between me and the people whose families, many people's image, and whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vache?
Huh.
Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly—
I was waiting for you to say.
No touching. We're way behind schedule.
Whoa! The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. Paimon thinks we need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up.
Hello, Willow.
water level is rising. Now we can swim to the top. But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
We're way behind schedule. We're way behind. Torn to oblivion.
Teamwork is dreamwork!
Barbados, guide us. Glaze over. I can fix this. There is no escape. Born of ice and frost. We're way behind schedule.
Now the path is clear. Let's go.
We're way behind schedule. We're way behind schedule. Next on the agenda.
Why do they never miss? Off we go!
Shine down.
Let's light it up!
I swear by my sword. Illusion shattered. Inazuma shines eternal.
Everybody stand back!
Shine down.
No touching!
For Rex Lapis.
Go and fly! Barely escaped!
Wind, hear me.
Go and fly!
Torn to oblivion.
After all that, though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. What's all this? Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but... Huh? You mean the girls from the series? And then they were... And all the boxes of things. These names. What's this over here? Looks like some kind of experiment number. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female try your best. It's just, how can someone write something that terrible? You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he... Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vache is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! No, that's not it either! If that's the case, in any case... Let's see what's written. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an investigation. This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have the old dogs are... He can act when... I concur. Let's sense... Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the waters of the Mixing in progress. Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep! Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water! That means this is where they make all the synth! If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth, but the pure stuff can dissolve a human! Paimon will take notes on this incriminating evidence! We've looked at almost everything here, and it's... Yeah! We haven't found anything that reveals... No wonder even Nervalette wasn't named that way. Even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit. Sure thing. Vache's lovers. Then you found her diary. Aw. It's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was... so many. Oh, the final name Marcel. Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Hey!
And whose image do you see? Is it a man named... Oh, so you...
I've merely...
I was
Navia! We're back!
as expected of my part.
Just how often do you...
It's all right, Monsieur Nervalette. Given their confidence... But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vache.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair and we already know everything! After your lover, Vinier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you! You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vache!
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's motive has now...
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, do you know where you... You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people around you. So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we grew as individuals.
You also never understood Boss's real expectations for his daughter.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend...
Do you really think I will pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, they said there's no... Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, you only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of... Vinier is dead! We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she go, but I'm not from this blasted place!
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't do you all see? I did all of that. And in the end, I spent my entire life...
The suspect is exhibiting signs...
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come in here. Please.
At this point, the verdict...
Fine by me.
Traveler, please submit... The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vache and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover, Vinier. During an underwater expedition, Vinier accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vache as a result. Vache learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to restore Vinier back to life. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vache discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea can induce feelings of euphoria. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, after exchanging blows with Spina de Rasula for many years, Vache decided to assassinate their president, Callus, at a banquet. Although the assassination did not go as... And just recently, Vache attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearance. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed. Thus concludes the enigma... The Oratrice will now deliver the final... According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Vache is guilty.
Guards! Take Vache away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that...
We really just...
Yippee! We have not. He's hurt so many Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come. You can rest easy now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's finally over. It's all... See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's still doing well with me at the helm.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been righted, and it's a big... Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got some bit...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
Ugh, what now? None of this has anything to do with me.
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the...
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary?
Please respect the laws of Fontaine.
All right, but...
Through evidence presented in the public trial that the guilty party has been identified, we now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique de... Guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed... What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine
Huh? This has never happened before.
I mean, have you ever heard of...
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the...
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale is, by law, the final verdict. Guards, please take the suspect.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Hey, Monsieur Novelette, what's going on?
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a... All I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
I don't know what happened there either.
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible.
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not?
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow and don't tell me?
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious.
However, give and. If you thought Child had nothing to do with this, everything he's done, all shall be. Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging.
So she chose to make her escape after all.
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. However, please be assured...
All right. After all...
What are you doing? Quick, stop him! Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Marcel! What are you doing?
Stop resisting arrest! No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Va? I erased all records of that.
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already...
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But how could that be? How did you manage to do it? The Fountain of Lucine? Then... Please give me a chance.
What? Give an inch.
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course!
Humans. Very well.
Your Honor,
I will go with him.
Thank you.
Adventure time! Adventure time!
Is this the place? You said she's here, but what do I need to do to see her?
Yeah, and even
Vache!
Ah!
Yes, that's it. So...
Vinier, it's me!
Vache?
I'm here!
Hey, wait!
Vinier, is that you?
Vache? Why did you come? Didn't I say you?
It's been all this time. I must be true. Vinier, you are my everything. I really don't know how I could...
But Vache, if you ask me, this world would be better off without you. If not for you, I would have finished my law degree, and if not for you, it's all because...
Wait, you are not Vinier.
You're right. I am not every woman who died by your hand. As our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back, our thoughts circulated. I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. The only one I am not.
Why? But then...
She doesn't want to see you anymore. This is what you get, but did you ever... You are a liar. A heartless murderer. The only thing you are not. From the moment your first...
No!
You still don't understand. But on top of that, she said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no Vache. Vache? Vache. 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 Drown.
Finally, we have some time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able to relax.
Well met, partner.
Even this weather...
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Oh, hey, Navia! It's been a few days. Paimon's already started to miss...
Oh, now that...
Sounds like you're...
It's just been... Everyone from Spina di Rosula organized a memorial for my father. This time, though.
So his name's...
It's been the dearest wish of the...
That blasted... Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left the memorial service. Well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say I knew she would be there.
Huh? So you know Charlotte?
Yeah, way back when I believe the story. To be fair, though, she was trying to lean on our friendship to get me to do an exclusive piece on the serial disappearances case.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical evidence, that you both sound real.
Now that's an...
Oh, and in other news, I also took Clorand out.
Oh, are you two on better terms then?
While you were investigating Vache's headquarters, Clorand gave testimony on my father's. It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will slowly begin to fade from the public consciousness. Oh, actually, there's...
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave and tell him the truth. And on top of that, that...
Miss Navia.
Indeed.
We want a good...
Sure thing.
And in that case...
Yeah, you're right. This is where my...
Huh? Isn't that Nervalette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? Navia?
My apologies. I should have asked before coming to pay my respects.
Don't say that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was trying to say there's no need for you. I wanted to show my father how much I've grown. But still, I doubt I've grown to the point that even the Chief Justice would feel compelled to apologize to me over and over.
In that case, I will stop.
You really could use some pointers on understanding human emotions, Monsieur Nervalette. In any case, why did you come to Poisson?
Well, ever since that day, I've been turning a question over and over in my head. Just what is justice? And there was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more important to humans than life itself. Oh, rather than that, it's probably more truthful to say I didn't believe humans were capable of resisting the most basic instinct of living things. That they could rebel against their own nature, or consider certain things to be more important than their own lives. Which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful duel. I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. But Mr. Callis proved me utterly, and if not for his sacrifice, the serial disappearances case, Mr. Callis made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associates, and for many people completely unrelated. And in the end, from a certain perspective, one could say that he did it all for the sake of justice. A justice that's higher than life. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callis in person. I should have noticed all of this much sooner. This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the Opera Epiclese indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your hard work and perseverance.
I'm sorry for being mad at you before. So, you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside, but pretty thoughtful on the inside, huh? That reminds me of Silver, one of my guys.
Sorry about that. Self-expression is not one of my strong suits.
Didn't I just say you don't need to apologize?
So Navia and Nervalette seem to... Let's not disturb them for now. We can wait till... Paimon's never paid respects at someone... Huh? Oh no. Paimon... Anyway, Nervalette is still standing around there.
Oh, it's you two. Did Miss Navia invite you to come?
We ran into Navia on the streets.
I see. Please feel free. Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my apologies. My investigation has still not reached its conclusion. However, I still believe the judgment of the Oratrice was not rendered arbitrarily.
But you also said you...
For many years, I have been quite aware that the Oratrice does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict that I give on each case. As a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept of justice is integrated. Not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses other traits, such as self-awareness. Which is all to say, I have been prepared for a situation like this.
Huh. So when Lenny told us that he heard a human voice from the room where the Oratrice's chorus stood...
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could serve to prove my conjecture. In any case, I am inclined to believe that the Oratrice does have a methodology all its own. We just do not have enough information. Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on. While we do intend to get to the bottom of this, for now, we regret to say that the Fatui Harbinger, if we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not commit, we will most certainly compensate him to the fullest extent allowed by the...
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation he'll want is a no-holds-barred fight with you.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask? Your sibling, another blonde-haired traveler. I'm sorry, but I've never seen anyone who matches that description. If he ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure he followed our laws to the letter, and had no reason to appear on the stage of the opera Epicles. Is there anything else you'd like to... That the sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone. Does that appropriately summarize the version you've heard?
That's right!
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront this prophecy directly. Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last...
A prophecy? Of the former Hydro-Archon?
Two parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels, and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. Indeed, she has been collecting information and intelligence. If the rumors were true, then perhaps...
But with
Is there anything else you'd...
So...
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that...
Huh. So it really was where everything began.
But today, the primordial sea no longer exists on the planet's surface. What Vache discovered must have been some kind of special case, or a remnant.
Huh. So that's how it is.
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and nurture life, suddenly reverse itself and devour? To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world and its laws. Is there anything else? Very well. It was my honor to provide. It will soon be time for me to leave this blissful tranquility behind and return to Palais Memoria.
You really are super busy, Monsieur Neuvillette. Paimon thought you only came here to pay your respects today because you had the day off.
Crime and villainy do not have the day off, and so justice must work.
All right. You've got a point. Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped.
And that is where I ended
We've been
today.
walking around for a while now.
We might have this next week or this upcoming Thursday. So stay tuned. Like and subscribe, I guess.